You're good to go, Severn. Please lead us into the evening.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Oh, this is something came into my head the other night from when I was a kid, and yeah, it's a song I used to love. There's one verse that I do not know of this, but there three of them I do. So it's good to have a bunch of people you cannot have here singing the chorus because everybody wants to come in with different weird singing parts in the chorus from how they've originally heard the song. But I was just going to sing Cool Water. All day I faced the barren waste without the taste of water. Cool, cool, clear water. Old Dan and I, with throats burned dry and souls that cry for water. Cool, clear water. Keep a moving, Dan, don't you listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man. You stretch the burning sand with water. Dan, can't you see that big green tree? Water's running free, waiting there for you and me. Oops. Cool, clear water. Cool, clear water. Let me take it down a little bit. The shadows sway and seem to say, tonight we pray for water. Cool, clear water. And way up there, you'll hear our prayer and show us where there's water. Cool, clear water. Keep a moving, Dan, don't you listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man. He stretched the burning sand with water. Dan, can't you see that big green tree where the water's running free, waiting there for you and me with cool, clear water? Cool, clear water. The night is cool, and I'm a fool. Each star's a pool of water. Cool, clear water. And come the dawn, wake and yawn, and carry on for water. Cool, clear water. Keep moving down. Devil not a man. Stand with water. Dan, can't you see that big green tree? Water's running free, waiting there for you and me with cool, clear water. Cool water, clear water, 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 water. Thank you. The echo in Jeanne. This is the echo to help.
Okay, so here's a glass of cool water to that. Our echo's back though, so that's a bit worrying. But we'll try and find it somehow. I don't know. Maybe Hazel can take over the echolocation during the interval or something. Anyway, I forgot to say, could everyone, once they've sung, could you please put the name of your song in the chat, just in the general chat to everyone, and we will index it for the YouTube video. Thank you, Severn. Hazel Richings is our next singer, followed by Gwyneth and Tamsin. So over to you, Hazel.
Thank you. Thank you. This one's going to be by Linda Kelly, and it's Northern Tide. Out to sea on a northern tide, on a northern tide, I'm bound away to the fishing grounds and the ocean wide, and more beside, to earn my pay. But I'll not let the ocean come between us. There's part of me that never leaves the shore. And though I haven't said the words, my own one, I couldn't love you more. Far away to my second home, in the salt and foam of a foreign sea, lashed by the winds of a raging gale, sleet and hail are home to me. You ask me, is it lonely on the ocean? You ask me if I miss you, but you know I miss you, but the sea will never leave me, and I can't let her go. Heave to, lads, and haul your nets, and fill the decks with a tandem cod. Barrels full of liver oil, fisherman's spoil pays the rent, thank God. Our holds are full and we are heading homeward. To the Humber's muddy waters we'll return. We'll leave the icy ocean far behind us, and pleasure in the money we have earned. Sailing home on an evening tide, on an evening tide, we're getting near. From the fishing grounds and the ocean wide, and more besides, to you, my dear.
Lovely song. Song.
Oh, it's beautiful, Hazel.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff that there, Hazel. Richard's asked, what is a northern tide? I think that's unduly pedantic, really. It's whatever you want it to be. So next we have Gwyneth and Tamsin in one, or either Gwyneth then Tamsin or Tamsin then Gwyneth, and then another pairing in the form of Jeanne and Phil.
Right, I'm going to do a song called The Oxford and Cambridge Boat Race, and it's to a very familiar tune, which for some reason I keep forgetting halfway through. Now if you'll listen unto me, doo-da, doo-da, I'll tell you of a jolly spree, doo-da, doo-da day. It's about the boat race you must know, doo-da, doo-da. It is such sport to see them row, doo-da, doo-da day. The crews they nobly tried, each other they did face. They pulled so hard and did their best to win the great boat race. Oh, won't it be a glorious sight, doo-da, doo-da. They'll pull away with all their might, toot-a-toot-a-day. Finer crews could ne'er be, toot-a-toot-a. The whopping muscles you can see, toot-a-toot-a-day. The crews they nobly tried each other, they did face. They pulled so hard and did their best to win the great boat race. Such pushing, squeezing, oh goodness me, toot-a, toot-a. Between the chaps and girls you can see, toot-a, toot-a-day. To see the race they are all bent, toot-a, toot-a. Oh, won't there be some money spent, toot-a, toot-a-day. The crews they nobly tried each other, they did face. They pulled so hard and did their best to win the great boat race. Before the boys began to row, toot-a, toot-a, they take a stroke with oars, you know, toot-a, toot-a-day. In their pretty dresses of cotton, toot-a, toot-a. Don't they fit right tight from top to bottom, toot-a, toot-a-day. The crews they nobly tried, they pulled each other, they did face. They pulled so hard and did their best to win the great boat race. There's Polly and Jane as they row past, toot-a, toot-a, looking through their opera glass, toot-a, toot-a-day. Says Jane to Polly, oh goodness me, toot-a, toot-a. One's burst his breeches and I can see, toot-a, toot-a-day. The crews they nobly tried each other, they did face. They pulled so hard and did their best to win the great boat race. When the race it is done, toot-a, toot-a, oh, won't there be some jolly fun, toot-a, toot-a-day. As home the chaps and girls they go, toot-a, toot-a, they wind it up with a game or so, toot-a, toot-a-day. The crews they nobly tried each other, they did face. They pulled so hard to do their best and win the great boat race.
Thanks, Gwyneth. Over to Tamsin then. And then Jeanne and Phil.
This is farewell, Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu to you, Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu to you, ladies of Spain. For we've received orders to sail for old England. But we hope in a short time to see you again. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 leagues. We hove our ship to with the wind from southwest, boys. We hove our ship to deep soundings to take. 'Twas 45 fathoms with a white sandy bottom, so we squared our main yard and up channel did make. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas till we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 leagues. The first land we sighted, it was called the Dodman. Next Ramhead off Plymouth, start Portland and White. We sailed by Beachy, by Fairlight and Dover, and then we bore up for the South Foreland Light. We'll We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ocean to Scilly is 35 leagues. Then the signal was made for the grand fleet to anchor, and all in the Downs that night to lie. Let go your shank painter, let go your cat stopper, haul up your clew garnets, let tacks and sheets fly. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ocean to Scilly is 35 leagues. Now let every man drink off his full bumper, and let every man drink off his full glass. We'll drink and be jolly and drown melancholy, and here's to the health of each true-hearted lass. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt seas until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ocean to Scilly is 35 leagues. Thanks.
Lovely.
Very well done.
Yeah, yeah. Nice one. Yeah.
Great stuff. That was cracking. Yeah. Also, great admiration for your hat, Tamsin, from in the chat. So Jeanne and Phil, you're next. And after Jeanne and Phil, could I have Tara, please? Are you there? Jeanne and Phil Revnell.
Right, we are unmuted. This is a female emancipation song, which I wrote specifically to upset our club organiser who pretends to be a misogynist. At least I think he pretends to be a misogynist. It's called Too Many Men in the Way.
I was just 10 years old when George Frederick was crowned, beginning to plan out my life. I wanted to see what the world was about before being some fella's wife. Me dad said we girls could do anything now, a doctor or lawyer he'd say. If he was still alive I would tell him the truth, there are too many men in the way. The men in the way make the rules and tell us what's wrong and what's right. Us girls ain't endowed with the proper equipment, and that's why we have such a fight. I'll get to the top as a restaurateur. I'd cook best of all of the girls. They let me do plenty of difficult stuff, dishes for princes and earls. I was praised for me sauces, adored for me sweets, the toast of the town, so they say. But when I suggested I might be head chef, there were too many men in the way. The men in the way make the rules and tell us what's wrong and what's right. Us girls ain't endowed with the proper equipment, and that's why we have such a fight. I wanted to buy a new nightie last week in Joshua T. Alder's big store. I got so fed up with me red flannelette, a girl's got to have something more. They had quite a show with them mannequin girls in saucy and thin negligees. I got just a glimpse as they swept up and down. There were too many men in the
the way. The men in the way make the rules and tell us what's wrong and what's right. Us girls ain't endowed with the proper equipment, and that's why we have such a fight.
But when I got to 20, I started to see we girls had some tricks of our own. We'd one or two assets that men didn't have. Now we had become fully grown. It might take some time to get right to the top, but we'll bide our time until then. And by using our own proper girly equipment, we'll get around most of the men. The men think they know all the rules and tell us what's wrong and what's right. But we've been endowed with our girly equipment, and that's why we don't have to fight. Yes, we've been endowed with our girly equipment, and that's why we don't have to fight.
Bravo, well done.
Good song.
Well done.
Now, the difference between a masseuse and a misogynist is one rubs people the right way and the other one rubs people the wrong way. Don't
Thank
hire
you.
a Swedish misogynist.
Thanks for that, Severn. Okay, brilliant song. Well done. That was fabulous. Tara is next, and Tara will be followed by Riggy.
Been a long time traveling here below, below. Been a long time traveling away from my home. Been a long time traveling here below. I wanna lay this body down, down, down. Wanna lay this body down. I've been a long time waiting here below, below. Been a long time waiting away from my home. Been a long time waiting here below to lay this body down, down, down. To lay this body down. I've been a long time hoping here below, below. Been a long time hoping away from my home. Been a long time hoping here below to lay this body down, down, down. To lay this body down. I've been a long time praying here below, below. Been a long time praying away from my home. Been a long time praying here below to lay this body down, down, down. To lay this body down. I know that someday I'm going back to my home. I know that someday soon I'm getting back, no more to roam. I know that someday I'm going back to my home. And I'll lay this body down to strive no more. And I'll lay this body down. I wanna lay this body down. It wasn't enough of you singing on the harmony.
Oh, yes, we were. Yes, we were.
Nice stuff, Tara. Thank you. Tara will is now be followed by Riggy Rackin, And then by David Kidman. Hopefully by Riggy. Come in, Riggy.
I'm here.
Ah.
I want to thank Alfred Williams for many things he did for me and for you too. The silvery moon that shines so bright, I swear with reason as my teacher, that if my midnight glass runs right, there's time to drink another pitcher. It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams round us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. They say that we must work all day, then sleep all night till awake much richer. But what is all the world thus say compared to mirth, my friends, and picture? It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams around us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. My dearly loved, the hardy man, no sniggering milk-sot Jimmy Twitcher, that loves a lass and loves the glass, and loudly calls for another pitcher. It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams around us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. Though one may boast a handsome wife, and yet strange vagaries may bewitch her, unvexed I lead the cheerful life, and loudly call for a t'other pitcher. It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams round us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher. It's not yet day, it's not yet day. Why should we forsake good liquor until the sunbeams round us play? Let's joke and push about the pitcher.
Another good one, Riggy. We'll see what David Kidman has to follow that with. And after David, Sheila Miller, please.
Okay, you can hear me okay without any echo. I had something I was going to sing for Peggy, but she's not here yet, so I'll sing this one instead, which I've been meaning to sing for a few weeks, never got round to it. It's an Adam McNaughtan song. It's probably one of my favourite Adam McNaughtan songs, but it's also one of the shortest, and it's got a cracking chorus. I ken you dinna like it, lass, tae winter here in toon. For the Scaldies I miscry us, and they try to bring us down. And it's hard to raise 3 bairns in a single flea box room. But I'll tack ye on the road again when the Yella's on the broom. When Yella's on the broom. When Yella's on the broom, I'll tack ye on the road again when Yella's on the broom. The Scaldies call us tinker dirt and sconce our bairns in school, but who cares what a Scaldie thinks, for a Scaldie's but a fool. For they never hear the yorlin sang, nor see the flax in bloom, for they're aye cooped up in houses when the Yella's on the broom. When the Yella's on the broom. When the Yella's on the broom. For they're aye cooped up in houses when the Yella's on the broom. Nae sail for pegs, no baskets new, so just to stay alive, I've had to work at Scaldy jobs frae 9 o'clock to 5. But we call nae man our master, for we own the world's room. And we'll bid farewell to Brechin when the Yella's on the broom. When the Yella's on the broom. When the Yella's on the broom. We'll bid farewell to Brechin when the Yella's on the broom. For I'm weary for the springtime when we tak the road ensmere, tae the plantain and the pearlin and the berry fields o' Blair. When we meet up wi' our kinfolk frae a' the country roun', and the gang about folk tak the road when the Yella's on the broom. When the Yella's on the broom. When the Yella's on the broom. And the gang about folk tak the road when the Yella's on the broom.
Good to see you sticking to your own tradition.
That's the idea.
You've muted yourself.
Yeah, you muted yourself, but I assume you were saying me, is that right?
I was saying you, Sheila. Well, yeah, exactly. And after you, it will be Clive Woolf, please.
Thursday is the anniversary of Ewan MacColl's death, so this is one of his. It's from the radio ballad Singing the Fishing. Lots of Scots words in this. You're on your own. Come a ye fisher lassies, aye, it's come awa wi' me, frae Cairn, Balgan, Gabry, and fae Inveralakee, fae Buckie and fae Aberdeen, and a' the country round, where a watty got the hair, and where a watty Yarmouth toon. Ye rise up in the morning wi' your bundles in your hand, be at the station early, or you'll surely hae to stand, tak plenty to eat, and a kettle for your tea, or you'll maybe die a hunger on the way to Yarmouth Quay. The journey it's a long, ye nigh it takes a day or twa, and when ye reach the lodging, sure it's soon asleep you'll fall, but ye rise at 5 wi' the sleep still in your ee, you're a what to find the gutting yards along the Yarmouth Quay. It's early in the morning and it's late into the night. Your hands are cutting chappet and they look an unca sicht, and you greet like a whane when you put them in the bree, and you wish you were 1,000 miles awa' fae Yarmouth Quay. There's coopers there and curers there and buyers canny cheels, and lasses at the pickling and others at the creels, and you wish the fish had been all left in the sea by the time you finished gutting herring on the Yarmouth Quay. I've gutted fish in Lerwick and in Stornoway and Shields, worked along the Humber amongst the barrels and the creels. Whitby, Grimsby, I've travelled up and down, but the place to see the herring is the quay at Yarmouth Town.
Well done, Sheila.
Nice and rousing there, Sheila. And Clive will follow that. And then I see Peggy's with us. Hello, Peggy. Great to see you. Thanks for coming along. And so I know that Mac wanted to sing a song. And so it will be Clive followed by Mac.
To sing this to my kids, so they're Yabu sucks and all that stuff. Twas on one Monday morning, the day appointed was, to walk out into a meadow green field to meet a bonny lass, to meet a bonny lassie, for to keep her company. For she's low down, she's in the Broom, she's awaiting them for me. I looked on my left shoulder to see whom I couldn't see. At length I spied my own true love come a-wandering down to me. Her heart's being brisk and bonny to keep me company. For she's low down, she's in the Broom, she's awaiting them for me. I took hold of her lily-white hand, and merrily was her heart. And now that we're together, we never more shall part. Oh, part, my dear, oh, never, until the day I die. For she's low down, she's in the Broom, she's awaiting them for me. I took my love by the middle so small, and gently laid her down. These words to me she this did say, as we lay on the ground. Do what you will, kind sir, she said, it's equal unto me. But little does my daddy know, I'm in the Broom with thee.
Haven't heard you sing that one for quite a while,
Yeah,
Clive.
it's been a long
Thank you.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
For the first time at Sharps in Isolation, Mac is going to sing, especially for Peggy, I think. Also Peggy, I don't know when do you want to sing? Do you want to settle in a bit and then give us a couple of songs, or do you want to do it after Mac?
What do you want to do?
Whatever you want to do. That's not helping, is it? I think we'll have Mac, then we'll have Wendy, and then if we could have you, Peggy, that would be great.
That's fine.
Over to you, Mac.
Can I be heard? I'm not sure if I can be heard.
You
yes?
can at the moment, yeah.
I can, okay.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Sharps regulars will know I only have a repertoire of 2 songs. It will be the 40th anniversary of our standing at the tree, celebrating his death on Thursday. And this is one that this is one that Ewan wrote for the radio ballads to the Air of the Rocks Are Born. Come on, you gallant drivers, wherever that you be, and whether you drive the Euclid or the 54 RB, keep your hand upon the lever, cut and fill a heavy load, for we're going nice and steady, digging up the road. When we've dug 100 fields through snow and wind and rain, built atomic power stations, more dams than I can name. We've cut through rock and swampland, moved mountains by the load. Now we're going nice and easy, digging up the road. When me digging days are ended and you've loaded your last ton, when the cart is broken up for scrap on your beach and won't run, when you've had the last stamp on your car and gone to your home abode, still there will be people traveling on your road.
Tell you what, Mac, you should learn another song. Then you'll have 3. Great to hear you. Haven't heard you for, well, probably, I don't know, a year or more. Okay, so Wendy is our next singer, and after Wendy, we'll have our special guest, Peggy Seeger. So over to you, Wendy, no pressure.
No, that doesn't feel pressured at all, does it? God. I'm going to sing a Ewan MacColl song as well. Like Mac, I don't know very many songs, but I wish you'd sing more often, Mac. Okay. The world that I knew, it has vanished and gone, leaving this forest of stone. And the faces are strange and altered, everything is changed. Here where I walk alone, unseen and unheard, I can walk through their world, hearing no voice but my own. There is no one to hear the voice of my hopes and my fears. Here where I walk alone. Companions I walked with and talked with are gone. Friends into strangers are grown. And my body is gone, deserted me and left this other one. Now I must walk alone. Thank you.
Lovely stuff, Wendy. Seems to have coped with the pressure admirably. So now, now it's time for our special guest singer, Peggy Seeger. Sorry, Peggy, you need to unmute because everybody, Livia's on. Oh, and you've gone. Please come back. Okay, we can't hear you yet, Peggy. You need to unmute.
Now I'm here.
Hooray.
Yeah. I forgot to turn the top light on. Yeah. So, now do you want me to do just one and then someone else sings and then I'll do another one?
If you want to do it that way, that'll be fine. In which case it'll be you, then John White, then you.
Good. That's lovely.
Great.
First of all, my musician sons apologize. One is ill and the other has a paid job. So many of, we've all had our entire year's work canceled. So I'm happy to see so many old friends. And Dave Kidman, you always were one of my favorites. Lovely to see you. That's not slighting the rest of you because it's just, that's the act that I came in on. I'm going to rattle on a little bit, if that's okay. Talk about the tree that's in Russell Square. I'm not going to be there. I'm self-isolating. I have been in self-isolation since the middle of March. I am not going out. But the plaque is going to be tidied up, and there's a crowdfunding for the bench. And I'd like to just thank Ian McNaughtan and Bruce Dunnett and whoever else was responsible for putting the tree there because it's fantastic. I've been reading a book called The Hidden Life of Trees. Do get it. Them trees is all talking to each other, and you can see what Ewan's tree is doing, leaning away from the one that's next to it and trying to fight off another one on the other side. It's wonderful. And I have a kind of fixation about time. I am rattling on, I do know that. I'm listening to a book called The Beginning and the End of Everything. It's about the beginning, the Big Bang, which had no yesterday, and the end, which is going to have no tomorrow of our universe. But time has taken on a whole new meaning with COVID. It takes new time with old age. I'll tell you, it's taken time waiting for that damn election in America. So I made this song in 1976, and Ewan and I had been together for, I think, 21 years at that time. And he was beginning to get ill. The first time he ever heard this song was on stage in Sydney, in Australia. And I just decided to sing it for him. And after I finished, I turned to look at him, and the bugger was crying. He was sitting on stage crying. So it's called Thoughts of Time. When first we loved and when our life was new, time lay before us like the space around a star. But time moves faster than it used to do. Thoughts of time will break my heart. We've been through every weather, you and me, forever twining ourselves together till death will us part. But death seems nearer than it used to be. Thoughts of time will break my heart. We know our children will take wing and fly. Ties will be broken and their circle torn apart. But to know our children will grow old and die, thoughts of time will break my heart. When our time is gone and others' time begun, our lives swept aside and others' lives about to start, then we'll join the past as countless more have done. If we joined our dream, my love, we join the fear that one will be left behind, the other will depart. But we've been in love for more than 20 years. Thoughts of time will break my heart. Our dream is old, our dream is always new. A dream ever with us, it was with us from the start. The dream that all could live as lovers do. A dream coming nearer, though it always seems afar. But to die before we see our dream come true, only that could break my heart. Mac, do you remember that time that you came to visit Ewan and me down in Beckenham? You and Bruce came in. Ewan was in bed at the time. It was 1989, sometime in the summer. And Ewan entertained you all that time with laughing and talking about himself like a whited sepulchre. And all you guys would talk about was, we don't want to die before the revolution comes. So the dream coming near, always. To die before we see our dream come true. You just have to have a different dream every time, you know, so you live it. And this has been a kind of dream to see all you guys again. I am so pleased. I'm pleased to be here.
You look marvellous, darling. You look wonderful.
You do indeed. Lovely song.
Thank you.
Very pleased to have you here, Peggy, and I'm not surprised Ewan was crying after hearing that. So thank you. So one from John White now, and then we'll have another from Peggy. We need to unmute you, John.
All right.
I can hear you now. Can hear you now, yeah.
Right. Just saying, Peggy, what a beautiful song. I've just been wiping away my tears. Peggy, it's lovely to see you, my love, and brings so many happy memories back of Saturday nights at the Union Tavern, when we used to sell the New City Songster in the interval. And also, Peggy, I must tell you, for the last 40 years, I've been boasting in the folk world. Once I danced with Peggy Seeger at the Beckenham Folk Dance Club. Anyway, we're remembering Ewan this week as we are trying to do regularly at Sharps. And so I'm going to follow Sheila's example earlier and do a song from Singing the Fishing, which you and Ewan produced together. And this is Hello, right? And this is the net hauling song. Come, busk up, my lads, get you up on the deck and take up your stations for hauling the net. And mind you pull together, boys, all through the night and sweat in your oilskins until it's daylight at the heaving and hauling and shaking the nets. It's when we start hauling, we're living in hopes. The boy in the locker, the lads on the ropes, and the fellas in the hold who are pulling the net and shaking the herring out onto the deck through the heaving and hauling and shaking the nets. It's net after net that comes up from the sea with a haul and a shake and a 1, 2, and 3. And the herring are a piling around your sea boots and slithering and sliding down into the chutes with the heaving and hauling and shaking the nets. It's hour after hour we are hauling away all through the long night till the dawn of the day. Then the skipper's in the wheelhouse, he's on the RT, and the cook's in the galley brewing the tea, and we've finished with heaving and hauling the net.
Well done, John.
Lovely. So back to Peggy, and after Peggy's second song, could we have one from Bob Wakeling, please? Are you there, Peggy? I can't see you on my screen, but I think you need to unmute if you are there.
There we go. I was singing to myself. I don't think a day goes by without I think of Ewan. 32 years now. About a month after he died, I wrote this song for him. My memoir talks about the state that I was in at that time. I'm still on the go. I have a new CD coming out. It was supposed to come out for the tour this year, but if you want to be the first one to hear it, go to the mailing list, sign on. It has a lot of new songs you've never heard before, written with my sons. I'm really pleased with it because I have to fight these days to get my voice to do what I want it to do. And as you've noticed, it's gone way down. My voice has slipped way down. So this is a thank you song to Ewan that I wrote in December of 1989. And you can join in on the choruses, that would be lovely. They're short choruses. Thank you for the long, long summer days and the long, long winter nights. Thank you for the singing and the songs. Thank you for the life. Once again, I have said it all before, now I'll say it all again. Once again. Thank you for the sharing and for the faith, for the flowers in my hand. Remember every time and every place. Thank you once again. Once again. Once again. We have lived it all before, now we'll live it all again. Once again. Thank you for the children, the gift of love. They were gotten when our life was full and strong. Thank you for the hope and for the joy. And thank you for the songs. Once again, once again. We have sung them all before, now we'll sing them all again. Once again, thank you for the songs. Once again, we have sung them all before, we'll sing them all again. Once again.
Yes. Thank you, Peggy.
Lovely.
Thank you.
What a beautiful song. Now, Peggy, I was told you were only going to give us 2 songs, but you're welcome to give us as many songs as you like. And we can keep doing turnabout like this, or you could maybe come back later. Oh, can't hear you. I think that must be a yes.
You're muted, Peggy.
I don't know any more songs.
Likely story.
I'm not sure I totally believe that.
I'll think about it. I have to think. But it's a night for you, and it isn't necessarily a night for me. So I'll see.
Yeah, but we want to exploit you to the maximum. We want to exploit this opportunity to the maximum. Sing again and again and again.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, think about it, Peggy, and I will invite you to sing a bit later anyway. In the meantime, it's Bob Wakeling, and after Bob, it will be that dreadful Amanda McLean. Over to you, Bob.
Hiya. Well, perhaps I'd better sing a shorter one than I was going to sing so we can get more from Peggy. I'll sing, One Night as I Lay on My Bed. One night as I lay on my bed, I dreamed about a pretty maid. I was so distressed I could take no rest. Love did torment me so. So away to my true love I did go. And when I come to my love's window, so gently then I called her name, saying it was for your sake I'm come here so late through this bitter frost and snow. So open your window, my love, do. Oh no, me mum and dad are both awake, and they are sure for to hear us speak. There'll be no excuse then but sore abuse, minutes the bitter word and blood. So be gone from my window, my love, do. Oh no, your mum and dad are both asleep, so they are sure not to hear us speak. They are sleeping sound on their bed of down, and they draw their breaths to slow. So open your window, my love, do. My love arose and opened the door. Just like an angel, she stood on the floor. Her eyes shone bright as the stars at night, and no diamonds could shine so. So in to my true love I did go.
Next.
Lovely, Bob. Great to hear you. I'm glad you made it back to Sharps in Isolation. So I'm going to sing next, and after me it will be Rebecca Woolf. So I thought I would sing something from my own tradition, which I normally do, and it's a traditional ballad, one of the best known ones. There came a lady frae the north, you scarce could find her marrow. She was courted by 9 gentlemen, and a bloomin' laddie frae Yarrow. The 9 of them sat drinking wine in her father's hall in Yarrow, and they made a plan among them all to fight wi' him in Yarrow. She's washed his face, she's combed his hair, she's girded his hips in arrow, and she's made of him a knight sae bold to fight for her in Yarrow. as he's gone up yon high, high hill, and down yon dancing arrow. It was there he's met wi' 9 armed men, come to fight wi' him in Yarrow. There's 9 o' you and 1 o' me, that marks an equal marrow, but I will fight you one by one in the dowie dens o' Yarrow. Well, 3 he slew, and 3 withdrew, and 3 he's wounded sorrow, but our brother John slipped in behind, and he's pierced his body through. Oh, gae hame, ye false young man, and tell your sister sorrow, for her true love John lies pale and wan in the dowie dens o' Yarrow. Oh, father dear, I dreamed a dream, and I fear that it means sorrow, for I dreamed I was pulling the heather bells in the dowie dens o' Yarrow. Oh, daughter dear, I'll read your dream, and to you it does mean sorrow, for your lover John lies dead and gone in the dowie dens o' Yarrow. She's wrung her hands, she's tore her hair, her heart's near burst wi' sorrow, for weel she loved her bloomin' lad, the fairest flower in Yarrow. She's put her hand up to her hair, where the ribbons hung down bonny o, and she's pulled them down and let them fall, and sae fast she's ran to Yarrow. As she's gone up yon high, high hill, and down yon dancing arrow, it was there she spied her true love John, lying dead and gone in Yarrow. She's washed his face, she's combed his hair, her heart's near burst wi' sorrow, and she's kissed the blood way from off his wounds in the dowie dens o' Yarrow. Her hair it was 3/4 long, and the colour o' it was yellow. She's tied it round his middle sae sma', and she's bore him home frae Yarrow. O daughter dear, dry up your tears, what need for all this sorrow? For I'll wed you to a better man than the one you lost in Yarrow. O father, ye hae 7 sons, ye may wed them all tomorrow, but a fairer flower never bloomed in June than the one I lost in Yarrow.
Yes.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Dowie dens o' Yarrow. Rebecca Woolf is our next singer, and after Rebecca, a song from David Diamond, please.
Hi, hope you can hear us okay. It's Rebecca and Rupert.
I'm Rupert. Hi. We're going to do a very,
Hi, Rupert.
very old English folk song called The Three Ravens. There were 3 ravens sat on a tree, down it, down it, down it, down. They were as black could be with a down. Then one of them said to his mate, where shall we our breakfast take? With a down, derry, 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 down, down. Down, down, down in yonder green field. Down, a down, a down, a down. There lies a knight slain under his shield with a down. His hands they lie so at his feet, so well they do their master keep. With a down, derry, 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 down, down. His hogs they fly so eagerly, down, a down, a down, a down. There's no foul dare that comes so near with a down. Down there comes a fallow doe, as great with long as she might grow. With a down, derry, 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 down, down. She lifted up his bloody head, down, 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 and kissed his wounds that were so red with a down. She's got him up on her back and carried him to an orphan land. With a down, derry, 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 down, down.
Well done.
Lovely stuff. I'm glad you've come back. You were here in the early days of Sharps in Isolation. So, yeah, great to have you back. Okay, it's over to David Diamond, and then I think we'll have a song from James Eagle.
Okay. Hello, and I'm going to read the introduction to this that comes with the song. This was mostly written at a meeting in the Department of State on November the 3rd, 1995, seated beside my boss who, just as I finished it, got up and vigorously told a bunch of very senior managers that they were wasting everyone's time by repeating a previous meeting without any sign of progress. The meeting continued as if he had never spoken. It occurs to me that as I write that this song, written on government time, might be government property, but I haven't told them about it. When you're in the office, the time is passing slow. There's nothing in your inbox. It isn't time to go. You can raise your spirits, give yourself a glow. Call a meeting, invite a few folks who have no work to do. They say they're busy, it isn't true. So call a meeting right now. When customers are angry, they say your products stink. Your profit margin disappeared. You're swimming in red ink. Don't despair or tear your hair. Just solve it in a blink. Call a meeting, invite a few folks who have no work to do. They say they're busy, it isn't true. So call a meeting right now. When you cannot bear the sorrow of which your day is full, when you see promotion going to the fellas with the pull, when even your own memos sound just like so much bull. Call a meeting, invite a few folks who have no work to do. They'll say they're busy, 'tisn't true. So call a meeting right now. When management is hostile, your project sinking down, your staff are in the corridors, each face wears a frown. There is a way to save the day and gather great renown. Call a meeting, invite a few folks who have no work to do. They'll say they're busy, 'tisn't true. So call a meeting right now. Midst bureaucratic blunder, midst politicians' lies, when the mountains of your misery are looming to the skies, there's still the final recourse of the good, the great, the wise. Call a meeting, invite a few folks who have no work to do. They'll say they're busy, it isn't true. So call a meeting right now. You can use the same agenda that Charlie used last year. Borrow Fred's old view graphs from the left-hand bottom drawer. Expense account the sandwiches, write in conference on the door. And call a meeting, call a meeting, call a meeting right now. Thank you. Thank you.
From them for. I think we'll have to call a meeting to discuss that song. Let's see. It's James Eagle following that one, and then a song from Pal Carter, please.
Right. Well, I've just looked at the crowdfunding page for the bench for Ewan MacColl, and we now have £8 remaining to get of our £1,600 target. So who knows? By the time I finish this song, we might have got there. This is one of Ewan's. I think it's from the Song of the Road as well. I am a roving rambler, a fitter to me trade. I can fix you anything, a camshaft to a spade. I can mend a dodgy gearbox, repair a broken tread, decoke a Leyland engine while I'm standing on me head. Now shift, boys, shift, do the job and draw your pay. When this road is finished, I'll be moving on me way. I'll clean me tools and wrap 'em in a pair of oily jeans. You'll always find me working where you find the big machines. I've worked in far-off places since I left the coaly Tyne. I work among the heavies and I wear a roving sign. I keep the tractors on the job of turning up the soil. I follow me nose around the world by the smell of diesel oil. So shift, boys, shift, do the job and draw your pay. When this road is finished, I'll be moving on me way. You'll find me where the tractors are on roads and hydro schemes, playing the lousy nursemaid to a pack of big machines. Yes, shift, boys, shift, do the job and draw your pay. When this road is finished, I'll be moving on me way. I'll clean me tools and wrap 'em in a pair of oily jeans. You'll always find me working where you find the big machines.
Good to hear a more unusual one, James.
Lovely.
Yeah. Good one, James. Great to hear that. Okay, so it's over to Pal, and then a song from Martin Nail, who will wind up the first half. We'll then have parish notices and a break, then we'll do it all again. Over to you, Pal.
Okay, a song from Anne Briggs. Drawing water from the well and spilling over on the grass. Walking home, my heart is filled with pain. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. And as I wander through the trees, picking up the windy leaves, I wonder where you may be sleeping now. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. And may the west wind speed your travels, and the sun be on your head, and make believe that I am with you all over there, my love. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. Friends and strangers bring stories when I ask where you might be. Magic stories they have brought to me. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. And as I sit mending clothes that you will never ever wear, looking daily for you I do prepare. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. Drawing water from the well and spilling over on the grass. Walking home, my heart is filled with pain. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love. You go your way, my love.
Beautiful.
Really?
Needs a proper thing, isn't it? I like it.
Lovely. Okay, that was just lovely. Thank you. Martin Nail is our last singer of the first half, so take us away, Martin.
Righto, yes. Well, the one with the chorus you can all join in with in your own ways.
Now Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. But when the fish and tin are gone, what are the Cornish boys to do? From Newlyn town we used to sail, through rain and mist and lashing gale. The mackerel shoals we hoped to find, and soon we'd left Land's End behind. For Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. But when the fish and tin are gone, what are the Cornish boys to do? We'd search the Severn stones around, but not a sign of shoal we'll find. Round Island Light is now in sight, but Scillies are a barren ground. For Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. But when the fish and tin are gone, what are the Cornish boys to do? The winding engines used to sing a melody to Cornish tin, and Geber lads they all would grin at payday on a Friday. For Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. And when the fish and tin are gone, what are the Cornish boys to do? The water now reclaims the mine, and young men talk of old men's time, and go to work in gold or coal, or face a life upon the dole. For Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. But when the fish and tin are gone, what are the Cornish boys to do? The hammer of the auctioneer is the only sound we soon will hear, and visitors will make the noise and order drinks from Cornish boys. For Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. But when the fish and tin are gone, what are the Cornish boys to do? We'll do as we have done before, go out and roam the wide world o'er. Wherever sea or ships are found, or there's a hole dug underground. For Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. So when the fish and tin are gone, that's what the Cornish boys will do. Cornish.
Lovely stuff, Martin. Great end to the first half. We're now going to have some parish notices, aka intimations, as in the Church of Scotland, aka announcements. So everyone is on mute at the moment, but if you do have something to share with us, then please unmute yourself and shout out. I do know that that James has an announcement. He's made it in the chat. Not everybody can see the chat. So, James, why don't you open with that?
Indeed. As I suggested when I started singing, we did in fact hit the target for the Ewan MacColl crowdfunder while I was singing my song. By purest coincidence. We've now got £1,610, so I can go to Camden Council and get the process of getting that installed underway. The idea was to, if we raised any excess, so that could go towards the cost of refurbishing the plaque, which Peggy mentioned. I think we're still waiting for a quote from Camden Council for how much that'll cost. But fantastic. Thank you all for... I know a large number of people here did donate and help spread the word, so thank you all very much for that. I don't know if Mac wants to say something as well, because it was his idea and his project to get this all going. So.
James, just a very, very big thank you for doing it. So many people over the years have promised. Having said that, next day, Thursday morning, 12 till 1, crowd distancing, face masks on, but I'll have the booze there. Look after yourselves, all of you.
Oh.
Hi, can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Right. This is a song, this is a Chumbawamba song. I really like it because it's a protest song with a bit of a difference. There we go. Anyway. 6 in the morning, don't want to wake, sun laying low, and the world sleeping late. Hate like a river runs heavy and deep. Oh, I wish that they'd sack me and leave me to sleep. 5 days from Severn, the week's hardly mine. The alarm clock's gone over to enemy lines. Waste my time working for cowards and creeps. Oh, I wish that they'd sack me and leave me to sleep. Rain strikes the window, heralds the day. Rain, won't you wash these 8 hours away? Rain feeds the river, runs heavy and deep. Oh, I wish that they'd sack me and leave me to sleep. Birds at my window, singing the dawn. By the time that I'm home, all this day will be gone. Spend my life sowing what others will reap. Oh, I wish that they'd sack me and leave me to sleep. Rain strikes the window, heralds the day. Rain, won't you wash these 8 hours away? Rain feeds the river, runs heavy and deep. Oh, I wish that they'd sack me and leave me to sleep.
I remember you're self-employed, Alan, so...
well, yeah. I'll sack myself. There you go.
Okay, Eleanor and Sam next. And then I'm hoping to prevail on Peggy for another song. If she says no this time, we'll probably leave it, but I'm hoping she's going to say yes. So Eleanor and Sam, and then fingers crossed.
Right. As there's a lot of people here, and we sort of sing a song together, just a short song. Since I come from North Wales, we thought we'd do a short Welsh song. I put the words in the translation in the chat. It's basically that the bird likes to enjoy himself and doesn't care about anything and leaves the catering to God. This is very typical of a Welsh song where how they're constructed is quite different to many English songs. I mean, typically we'd all go round to Amanda's and she'd play the harp. And then perhaps David Kidman would then make up a tune, a few words, which would be to a different tune. And in the middle of it, there'd be a bit of some nonsense words so the next person could sing, could make up the next one. And whilst you're doing the nonsense words, either you're making up the next verse or you're having a dance around the room, which is why the chorus doesn't come at the end. It comes halfway through. So it's like line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and then twiddly bits, and then line 3 and 4 repeated. Anyway, that's how it works. Off we go then.
Jofal yw'r aderyn, ni haen I fedyn gronin, heb yn gofal yn y byd, mae'n canu a hyd a flwyddyn. Dumily, 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 rowdy, rowdy, rano, rowdy, rowdy, rano, heb yn gofal yn y byd, mae'n canu ar hyd y flwyddyn. Fe eistedd ar y gangen, gan edrych ar yr aden, heb I geiniog yn ei god, ond llwio bod yn llawen. Dumily, 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 rowdy, rowdy, rano, rowdy, rowdy, rano, heb yn geiniog yn ei god, ond llwio bod yn llawen. Fe wytyd I swp a heno, neu wir ymlaen yn geinio, dyma modd y mae yn byw, a gather with you, hallelujah. Dumily, 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 rowdy, rowdy, rano, rowdy, rowdy, rano, dyma modd y mae y byw, a gather with you, hallelujah.
Rowdy Rano.
It's a busy night for birds, and there's been some really appalling puns in the chat. So those of you who engage with the chat, you're very lucky this evening to miss that. For that song. Okay, now since Eleanor and Sam sang together, that does create a space for Peggy. Peggy, are you up for it?
Yay.
Oh, I don't know if Peggy is up for it. I can't see her screen and she's on mute. Okay, that might... Okay, I think we'll have to move on just now. Hopefully she just popped out and we'll pop back in. In that case, sorry for the total lack of warning, but Bev Praver, could you sing? And and then we'll have Peggy. You missed your slot, Peggy, I think, but there is a space for you. So I've just called Bev.
If she wants to sing right now, she could sing, and then I could sing after her.
I can't unmute, Peggy.
No. Oh, that's odd.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and...
I'll sing after you, love. I'll sing after you.
Yeah. On you go, Bev.
Go ahead.
All right. This goes back to, God, I think I've known this song my entire life. And I better put the capo on or I won't be able to sing it. The Weavers had their first, one of their first hits with this song in 1950. It was on the flip side of Goodnight Irene. Saying that, saying that, saying that, saying that, how about the rain of Hioli, Mavoshava, Ala, 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 Tita Benami Bechai, Alishava. Saying that, how about the rain of Hioli, Mavoshava, Ala, Tita Benami Bechai, Alishava. Saying that, saying that, saying that, saying that, can't you hear the music playing in the village square? Saying that, saying that, saying that, saying that, come where all our friends will find us, they'll be dancing there. Saying that, join the celebration, there'll be people there from every nation. Don't Zena, haben up the Rena, Hiolim, Mavoshava. Ala, Tita Bena, Mi Bechai, Kalishava. Zena, haben up the Rena, Hiolim, Mavoshava. Ala, Tita Bena, Mi Bechai, Kalishava. And to think when I was a teen, I could dance the horror to that really fast and sing at the same time.
The Lord will prosper us this day. Defend the broadside, fire away and
Who's that? Who's that performing out of turn? We'll have none of that. Absolutely none of that. It sounded good though, so I hope we get whoever that was. I didn't see it.
Singing along.
Okay, over to you, Peggy, for another song. Thank you for coming back. And after Peggy, a song from Rory Grieg, please. Wait a minute, Peggy, you're singing to yourself again.
Oh, golly. That comes from being in isolation, you know, talking to myself as I walk around the house. But I'm a Gemini, I always answer. Okay. I'm trying to figure out whether to sing a folk song or a new song. Have we got a, it's not brand new, but it's a topical song. Anybody have any preference? No? Okay.
Topical.
Well, I'd like to praise a woman, Jennifer Jones, her name was. I met her at Greenham Common Women's Camp, the getting rid of cruise missiles. She got multiple sclerosis in her mid-40s. She was an architect. She was the head of a school. I went and interviewed her, and I made a song out of her words. These are all her words, and I just made the song. She was an amazing woman. Greenham Common was where the women went and finally got rid of the nuclear base there. And it was during bolt cutting the fence time. So everybody had bolt cutters, and I love bolt cutters. I think they're great things. You just chop your way through whatever you want to chop through. So this is Jennifer Jones' song, and remember, these are her words. I'm a woman on wheels, but I still got my brain. I'm gonna tell you how it feels to be your own railway train. Roll down to the corner, put on your brakes. I'm gonna tell you what it takes to be a woman on wheels. Roll on over the holes, the bumps, the cracks, roll on. Do you remember that day we were running for the train and my tire went flat? Roll on. That man over there, the one under the hat, trying so hard not to stare. You get used to that, still it's better than looking away. You get that every day. You're a woman on wheels. Roll on. Pity me and I'll pity you. Roll on. All they ever want to talk to me about is things that I can't do. Roll on. When it comes to curbs, when it comes to stairs, I've got my special words, and I don't mean prayers. When it comes to the stores, to reach the merchandise is a major exercise for the woman on wheels. Roll on, I want a chair that can levitate. Roll on, I want to race up ramps, run downstairs. Wouldn't that be great? Roll on. I went down to Greenham and I was cutting the fence. Cops pulled me out of the way. Then they waded in, they said, you'll never get arrested, a little lady like you. I says, who are you talking to? I'm a woman on wheels. I said, hold on, I've got my rights to demonstrate. Roll on. Next time I went down, I took a dozen bolt cutters and a dozen wheelchair mates. Roll on. And she did that too. I want to be alone, but I'm always under care. I've got this urge to roam. Me and my chair, we're together for life, and not together for love. There's things I need more of. I'm a woman on wheels. Roll on, so many places I can't go. Roll on. I want to lie in a field with the flowers, or run on a beach with the sand between my toes. Roll on. Well, I need you, but you need me to tell you about a different view of the world you see, about the pain I feel, about the fight I've won, about how to do some little things you think can't be done. Roll on with the deaf and blind, the lame and halt. Roll on. There's money around to help us all. It's a crippled system, holds us back, keeps the people on wheels off the mainline track. Jennifer Jones song.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff, Peggy. I'm so glad you sang that song. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Inspires us all. Great. Okay. Rory is next. After Rory, we'll have something from Jan Ayres.
Yes, Miss Peggy.
Okay. One of my most treasured memories is back in 1966 when Peggy and Ewan came and collected songs from my great auntie, Jessie Kidd. And a very wet day, as I seem to remember, and all the family, we sat round and really enjoyed the afternoon, and it was a tremendous occasion, which lives with me yet. So it's lovely to see her and hear her again. And this was one of the songs they collected that day. Oh, who's that stands at my bedroom window and speaks so kindly unto me? Oh, 'tis I, a true love Jamie, who has sailed the wide world around for thee. The first thing you'll do is ask your father if he be willing my bride you'll be, and if he refuse you'll come back and tell me, and 'twill be the last time I'll visit thee. My father's in his bedroom chamber, taking up his natural rest, and in his right hand he holds a letter, and that letter is to your disgrace. Oh, to my disgrace, to my disgrace, to my disgrace, how can that be? For I've neither slighted you nor yet disowned you, until this very moment you've slighted me. The next thing you'll do is ask your mother if she be willing my bride you'll be, and if she refuse you'll come back and tell me, and 'twill be the last time I'll visit thee. My mother's in her bedroom chamber, combing down her yellow hair, and she bids you go and wed another, for you'll never wed her daughter fair. If I had known before I courted that young girl's heart's were sail to win, I'd have locked mine in a chest of gold, and tied it up wi' a silver pen. Oh, I will rig my full ship in order, and I will set it to the sea, and I'll set sail to some far distant country, and 'twill be the last time I'll visit thee.
Great, brilliant version.
Very well done.
Good.
So he's great.
Great stuff, Rory. And yeah, what a story was collected. Was it? Did you say your great aunt? I think you said your great aunt. Anyway, fantastic. Okay, so next we have Jeanne Ayres, and after Jeanne, could I have a song from John Roberts, please?
A song I learnt when I was, well, very young. It was over 65 years ago. We had a Burr Lives CD or EP even. No, it was an EP, yes. And it's an American version of the Old Daddy Fox. Fox went out on a chilly night, prayed for the moon to give him light, set it many a mile to go that night before he reached the town. Oh, many a mile to go that night before he reached the town. Oh, he ran till he came to his farmer's pen. The ducks and the geese were kept therein. Said, a couple of you will graze my chin before I leave this town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh. Couple of you will graze my chin before I leave this town. Oh, he grabbed the grey goose by the neck, slung a duck across his back. He didn't mind the quack, 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 and the legs all dangling down. Oh, down, oh, down, oh. He didn't mind the quack, 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 and the legs all dangling down. Oh, old Mother Flipper Flopper jumped out of bed. Out of the window she poked her head, crying, John, John, the grey goose is gone, and the fox is on the town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh. John, John, the grey goose is gone, and town, oh. Now John, he rode to the top of the hill, blew his horn both loud and shrill. Fox, he said, I better flee with my kill, 'cause they'll soon be on my trail. Oh, trail, oh, trail, oh. Fox, he said, I better flee with my kill, 'cause they'll soon be on my trail. Oh, he ran till he came to his cozy den. There were the little ones, 8, 9, 10. They said, Daddy, better go back again, 'cause it must be a mighty fine town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh. They said, Daddy, better go back again, 'cause it must be a mighty fine town. Oh, cut up the goose with a fork and a knife. They never had such a supper in their life. And the little ones chewed on the bones. Oh, bones, oh, the bones, oh. They never had such a supper in their life. And the little ones chewed on the bones. Oh.
No. Slows down and then it speeds up.
That's
So that's great. Now John Roberts will give us a song, and after John, a song from Graham Baldwin.
Okay. I'll give you this one. I sing a lot of sea songs, and this one seems appropriate for the moment. I first heard it at a Ewan and Peggy concert in my neck of the woods in upstate New York, and Ewan prefaced it with a long story about farting a ship through the doldrums, which was hysterical. But I won't give you that. But this is the Showerback song. I am an old seafaring man, I come from everywhere. Name any point on the compass you like, and you're sure to find me there. Born in the gales and the roaring forties, entered in the long, sent up aloft to the upper gallants, and christened in Navy grog. All that I own are the clothes on me back and the tools of a sailor's trade. Me fid and me palm a few needles, a spike and a knife with a good keen blade. I've a bunk in the forecastle, a seat on the bench in the galley where I can feed, and a hook for to hang me old oilskins on. What more could a shellback need? I've sailed both Atlantics, I've doubled both capes more times than tongue can tell. I've fought the big seas in a parish-rigged bark, and I've froze off Cape Farewell. I've cursed the calms and the doldrums when you'd swear the wind was dead, laid to off Cape Horn in a westerly gale that'd blow the hair off your head. To the maggoty horse and the weevilly bread I've added me words of abuse. I've pounded hard biscuit to powder and mixed it with bug fat and jaggery juice. With a galley awash for a week on end, I've gone hungry early and late, been served with pea soup that could stand on the poop deck and scare off a blue-nosed mate. I've signed on in short-handed Yankee ships with skippers who knew the score. I've sailed with the drinkers who can't navigate a course past the barroom door. I've served with men who were seamen and knew how to treat a sailor well, while some of the others, the miserable buggers, they've made my life a hell. I've known all the boarding house keepers ashore from Cardiff to Tokyo. I've known all the pimps and the waterfront crimps from Riga to Callao. I've spent me advance with Rasmussen the Dane, I've lodged with Paddy West, and I've known the slop chest for to take off me screw, while Big Nelly she took the rest. Goodbye, ye square riggers, your voyaging's done. Goodbye to the days of sail. Goodbye, ye Cape Horners, and every tall ship that ever defied a gale. Goodbye to the shellbacks who rode the wind through the world of sea and sky. Your journey is over, your seafaring's done. Ya mariners all goodbye.
Good night.
Love that song.
Yeah, I remember Ewan singing that.
Yes, so do I.
Smash it. Just put your latest through that.
It's a great song.
Cracking song. Yeah, thanks for that. Brilliant. So Graham Baldwin, follow that with your echo. You won't have an echo while you're singing, luckily, so that's good. And after Graham, we'll welcome Martin Ryan.
So is that true? I won't have an echo while I'm singing. Do I sound okay?
You sound fine. I think people are singing like this.
Good. Okay. I'm going to stick with the marine theme, following John. And I'm quite surprised actually that on this day, which is October the 20th, nobody's been singing anything or mentioned anything about what happened 215 years ago, less a day. It was the Battle of Trafalgar. So here's a song about the Battle of Trafalgar. It's got a chorus you can join in with. On the 21st of October, before the rising sun, we were formed in line for action, me boys, at 12 o'clock begun. Brave Nelson too, his men did say, the Lord will prosper us this day. Defend the broadside, fire away on board the man of war. On board the man of war. On board the man of war. Defend the broadside, fire away on board the man of war. From broadside to broadside, our cannonballs did fly, like hailstones in the small shot too, around our deck did fly. Our mast and rigging shot away, besides some thousands on that day were killed or wounded in the fray on board our man of war. On board man of war. On board man of war. Killed or wounded in the fray on board our man of war. May heaven reward Lord Nelson, likewise protect his men. There were 19 sail, the combined fleet was sunk and taken in. The Achilles blew up amongst them all, which made the French for mercy call. But Nelson was slain by a musket ball on board the man of war. Board a man of war. On board a man of war. Nelson slain by a musket ball on board the man of war. There's many a brave commander with grief hung down his head, but yes, the grief got no relief, for Nelson he lay dead. It was by that fateful musket ball that caused our hero for to fall, the greatest hero of them all, on board the man of war. On board the man of war. On board the man of war. The greatest hero of them all, on board the man of war. Oh, may this glorious battle now surely bring us peace. May all our trade, near and far, now prosper and increase. And may this victory upon the sea burn the hearts of our enemies. But from port to port we may go free, on board the man of war. On board the man of war. On board the man of war. From port to port we may all go free, on board the man of war.
We're doing very well on the maritime theme this evening. So thank you, Graham. A great song. And let's see what Martin Ryan has for us. Martin, I am beginning to lose the plot. I think this might be the first time you've been here in Sharps in Isolation. If so, huge welcome. And after Martin, could we have Racker Donnelly, please?
It is certainly my first time here, indeed. So I hope my rather primitive session or setup works for you. This is a song that I first heard back in the days when it paid to have a Walkman parked beside your transistor radio. And given the age profile of the people here tonight, I suspect most of you would at least know what I'm talking about. There's a rather mysterious set of initials in the first verse, which is the IDATU, which is the Irish Distributive and Allied Trades Union, which was the trade union for shop girls mainly, about 30 or 40 years ago when Ewan MacColl wrote this song. Pause a while, my friends, and listen to what I'm going to tell to you about the events in Dublin City and the girls of the IDATU. Dunstore's branch in Henry Street was where the trouble first began. That led to the strike, the famous strike of 10 young women and 1 young man. At the union conference that year, they said, we will not compromise with apartheid, and they voted to boycott all South African merchandise. Karen Kieran, Dunshop steward, told her mates about the ban. They said, we'll stick by the resolution, 10 young women and 1 young man. Mary Manning from Kilmainham, a 21-year-old cashier, was put to the test the very next morning, and she spoke up loud and clear. No, I'm afraid I cannot serve you, them grapefruit South African. And some of us here are opposed to apartheid, 10 young women and 1 young man. There was a hell of a hullabaloo with moans and shouts and angry cries. The boss was foaming at the mouth and the suits running round like blue-arsed flies. You'll sell that fruit or be suspended. We'll tolerate no union ban. Little did they understand the will of 10 young women and 1 young man. Mary Manning got the push, that girl of independent mind. 10 of her workmates went with her and joined her on the picket line. For days and weeks and months they stood there, held their nerve and kept the ban, showing the will and determination of 10 young women and 1 young man. So here's to the girls of Dublin City who stretched their hands across the sea, gave the world a perfect lesson in worker solidarity. Here's to the folk who heed the boycott, won't buy cape and spurn out span. And to the fella who made their number, 10 young women and 1 young man.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Well done, and thank you.
Really nice. Well, you're going to watch some grub then?
Yeah, must be forgotten.
Martin, you can come back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have Racker Donnelly, and after Racker, could I call on Dave Harbord? Are you there, Racker?
Unmute. Am I okay now?
You're okay now.
You can hear me.
You can hear you. Can still
is that
hear
good
you.
or bad, Amanda?
It's happening.
From the heart.
Don't ask me to judge. It's happening.
The thing I'm about to do, you could call it a radio ballad. You probably wouldn't call it a radio ballad, but you could if you wanted to be clinically accurate, because I wrote for Irish National Radio. I was commissioned to write it about sheep, a subject about which I knew nothing. But I did research up in the Wicklow Mountains, where I am now, not in the mountain, but in Wicklow, interviewed a few sheep. And this is the result of my researches. I would sing it, but I don't have time. Like rabbits on stilts, or shrunken llamas, flocks in flocculent pajamas, faces like Lady Bracknell's, gardeners' trowels, whiff of grape shot from blackberry bowels, gregarious kegs on precarious legs, with your granny's knees, ears in fear of every teasing breeze, muzzles with graven grins, chins nuzzling, guzzling, lugging, tugging, scratching, snatching scalps of the patchy grass. Then all the bog cotton picking day to day, chewing the cud like good old boys on the beach in Bali. When they're not rutting, they're butting. Here's a Glasgow kiss for you, mate. Ooh! And they'd smother their mother to get through a gate. Our modern sheep descended from the Mediterranean mouflon and the Asian Uriel. Mouflon just acted the goat, and as for Uriel, you'd get more wool off your Auntie Muriel. Though they don't care a fig for pagan pig or tapeworm harbouring every Haji, Ayatollah and Imam throughout Islam salutes with warm salam the halalam. That lamb you pet, my dear Amanda, will end up Etter's lampasander. If that makes you edgy, turn veggie. Or if that's too hard, turn halfway hypocrite. A wishy-washy fish and hypocrite. The thought of slaughter, my darling daughter, don't make me quiverous, for I'm carnivorous. Like the beast, is yon farmer to be fleeced, dipped, ripped, and frozen fresh? Will meat eating go the way of all flesh? Ramrod rams who think they're ramble. Ramshackle ewes a do and a mambo. Wait 5 months and there's a lamb boldly bawling, here I am. Then earmarked, barked at, stamped and cramped, tail docked, male doctored, ooh, the weaning and the keening. Babby's ba, where are you, ma? Mammy's bleat, here I am, sweet lamb. The shining lamb, gambling against the green, against the odds, jumping for joy across the hungry grass, shaking a weedy hoof at the greedy gods, living for now. Poem about the joy of living.
From anywhere.
Fabulous, well done, Rackin.
I mean, it's a different, it's a different sort of mindset. I think move on.
Short rhymes as usual, Racker. Fantastic stuff. I think I heard my name in there as well. Like rhyming with Passanda is a fairly easy one. Anyway, brilliant stuff. Dave Harbord is next, and then we'll have another Dave, David Jones.
Right, hello. This song was first recorded on paper anyway in about 1812. And it's a very sad song. For some reason, the men who worked on the River Tyne had a reputation for drunkenness and abuse. You know, I'm not sure how true it is, but anyway. But this is a sad song, I think, about it. Oh, I am a young maid truly, and I live in Sandgate Street. I thought to marry a good man that would keep us warm at night. A lovely body, a bonny body, some mother's canny son. Oh, but I've married a keel man, and my good days are done. He's an ugly body, a bubbly body, an ill-bred, hideous loon. Oh, and I have married a keel man, and my good days are through. I thought to marry a parson to help me say me prayers, but I have married a keel man, and he kicks me down the stairs. I thought to marry a dyer to dye me apron blue. Oh, but I have married a keelman, and it's me that's black and blue. He's an ugly body, a bubbly body, an ill-bred, hideous loon. Oh, and I have married a keelman, and my good days are through. I thought to marry a joiner to make us chair and stool. But I've married a keelman, and he is a perfect fool. I thought to marry a sailor to bring us beads and lace. Oh, but I've married a keelman, and he's a bloody disgrace. He's an ugly body, a bubbly body, an ill-bred, hideous loon. Oh, and I have married a keelman, and my good days are through. I thought to marry a foreigner to take us overseas. But I have married a keelman, and he has me on me knees. I thought to marry a squatty to bring us home some pay. Oh, but I have married a keelman, and by God I rue the day. He's an ugly body, a bubbly body, an ill-dressed, hideous loon. Oh, when I have married a cute man, and my good days are through. Yes, I have married a cute man, and my good days are through.
Thank you for sharing details of your profession. Okay, good stuff, Dave. David Jones is next. After David Jones, it will be Chris and Deirdre.
Okay, I'm a bit caught up in the image of a bubbly body, but I've chosen a very short song, and it's really an ending song, but anyway, by Ian Sinclair, I think it was. All this evening's passed so quickly, and the music's almost done. You've heard the piper and the fiddler, the singer and his song. The time has come for us to leave you. One last song before we go. So button up and I be cheery, and take a dram before you go. Button up and I be cheery, and take a dram before you go. For this night we'll long remember, for the music's been just fine. But the cold grey land of Caithness can be cruel and unkind. We must bid farewell, and now we'll leave you, travel through the ice and snow. So button up and I be cheery, and take a dram before you go. Button up and I be cheery, and take a dram before you go. So good night, and God be with you, and watch over you until we are all met here together, and our glasses we will refill. We'll drink a toast to absent friends. We'll make the wine and whiskey flow. So button up and I be cheery, and take a dram before you go. Button up and I be cheery, and take a dram before you go.
Well,
Our song as always, David.
Another lovely song, David. We've had so many great songs this evening, and several more to come, despite the fact that was a kind of parting song. Unfortunately, not everyone who has their hand up will get on this evening. It's just impossible. We're finishing at 11. But let's get through as many as we can. Chris and Deirdre are back after a bit of a break, I think. Haven't seen you for a while. And after Chris and Deirdre, a song from Tom Reed, please.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, we're so glad to be back, and what a treat to hear David sing. So I'm going to sing a song that I've sung before because I can't match what David does. Oh, when the blues chase up a rabbit, oh, rabbit, he run a mile. Poor little rabbit cries like a newborn child. I wish I were on the banks of the Mogadavik in the spring when the water's running high, so I can see my baby gliding swiftly by. I wish I were a sailboat, rigged out all neat and tight. I'd sail under his window nearly every night. Now if I were in cool Colorado, sitting on some mountain high, it's there I'd find my baby riding slowly by. I wish some like snow in winter, and some like the warm summer sun. Me, I love my baby. He loves another one. I wish I were a headlight on some eastbound train. I'd shine my light on cool Colorado rain. I'll listen to that engine, hear that old freight train roar. I'm leaving. Let me do this again. I'll listen to that engine, hear that old freight train roar. I'm leaving this city, ain't coming back no more. For when the blues chase up a rabbit he run a mile. Poor little rabbit cries like a newborn child. Poor little rabbit cries like a newborn child.
Lovely song, Deirdre. Over now to Chris, followed by, who did I say? Did I say Tom? Tom Reed, yeah, I think. Yeah.
No, you did not say, but that's all right.
Did I not? I can't remember.
Well,
it's
can you
chaos
say
now.
it?
Anyway,
Yes, you did.
Chris
Yes,
next.
I think you did.
All right then. Good to see everyone. It's been a little while. Good to see John. Good to see David. Good to see Heather Wood as well. She always asks me to sing this traditional song when I'm in her space by that noted traditional English folk singer Sting. It's all there in the Gospels, the Magdalene girl comes to pay her respects, but her mind is a whirl when she finds the tomb empty, the stone had been rolled, not a sign of a corpse in the dark and the cold. When she reaches the door, sees an unholy sight. There's the solitary figure in a halo of light. He just carries on floating past Calvary Hill in an almighty hurry. Aye, but she might catch him still. Tell me, where are you going, Lord, and why in such haste? Ah, don't hinder me, woman, I've no time to waste, for they're launching a boat on the morrow at noon, and I have to be there before daybreak. Oh, what can I be missing? The lads will expect me. Why else would the good Lord himself resurrect me? For nothing'll stop me. I have to prevail through the teeth of this tempest, in the mouth of a gale. May the angels protect me if all else should fail. When the last ship sails, oh, the roar of the chains and the cracking of timbers, the noise at the end of the world in your ears, as a mountain of steel makes its way to the sea, and the last ship sails. And whatever you've promised, whatever you've done, and whatever the station in a life you've become, in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and no matter the weave of this life that you've spun on the earth or in heaven or under the sun, when the last ship sails. It's a strange kind of beauty, it's cold and austere, and whatever it was that you've done to be here, it's the sum of your hopes, your despairs, and your fears, when the last ship sails. Well, the first to arrive saw these signs in the east, like that strange moving finger at Balthazar's feast, where they asked the advice of some wandering priest, and the sad ghosts of men whom they thought long deceased, and whatever got said, they'd be counted at least, when the last ship sails. Oh, the roar of the chains and the cracking of timbers, the noise at the end of the world in your ears, when a mountain of steel makes its way to the sea, and the last ship sails. And whatever you promised, whatever you've done, and no matter the station in life you've become, in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and no matter the weave of this life that you've spun on the earth or in heaven or under the sun, when the last ship sails. Well, the footmen were frantic in their indignation. You see, the Queen's took a taxi herself to the station, and the porters, surprised by a lack of royal baggage, bustle her and 3 corgis to the rear of the carriage, for the train it is cramped with all Europe's nobility, and there's none of them famous for their compatibility. There's a fight over seats, I beg pardon, your grace, but you'll find that one's mine, so get back in your place. Ah, but where are they going? All the porters debate. Well, they're going to Newcastle, and they daresn't be late. Well, they're launching a boat on the tiny tide, and they've come from all over, from far and from wide. There's the old Dalai Lama, high in the Pontiff of Rome, every palace in Europe, and there's nae bugger home. There's the Duchess of Cornwall and the loyal Prince of Wales, looking crushed and uncomfortable in his top hat and tails. Well, but you haven't got tickets, come now, it's just a detail. There were no time to purchase them, and one simply has to prevail. For we'll get to the shipyards or end up in jail when the last ship sails. Oh, the roar of the chains and the cracking of timbers, the noise at the end of the world in your ears, when a mountain of steel makes its way to the sea, and the last ship sails. And whatever you promised, whatever you've done, And no matter the station in life you've become, in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and no matter the weave of this life that you've spun on the earth or in heaven or under the sun, oh, and the last ship sails, oh, the roar of the chains and the cracking of timbers, the noise at the end of the world in your ears, oh, and a mountain of steel makes its way to the sea, and the last ship sails.
Oh, what a
Oh, that's an extraordinary song. Did you say it was by Sting? I think you said it was by Sting. Incredible. Yeah. Could I just remind everyone to please put the names and authors, if known, of your songs in the chat so that I can index the evening. So anyway, it's Tom Reed next, and after Tom, it will be time for a song by Kate Porto, and then we'll maybe have one or two more. We'll see how it goes. But Tom first.
Wow, how do I follow that? Here we go. This is called Refugee. I went down to the well for water, with the full moon ablaze in my eyes. At the window, my sad little daughter, hurry back to me, Daddy, she cried. 'Cause I'm frightened alone in the darkness, and the guns seem much closer tonight. They just keep on killing each other. Tell me, Daddy, why do they fight? Come to me, child. Come to me, child. You know you have nothing to fear. Dry your eyes, child. Dry your eyes, child. Your daddy will always be here. Oh, Daddy, I can't keep from crying since they took my dear mommy away. I still miss how she called me her darling. I still miss the games that we played. She could dry up my tears with her kisses. She could sing like the birds in the trees. And I know that she sleeps with the angels. But I wish she were back here with me. Come to me, child. Come to me, child. You know you have nothing to fear. Dry your eyes, child. Dry your eyes, child. Your daddy will always be here. I crossed over the hills for the border when the night was as black as the grave. and I carried my sad little daughter. Be brave, child, I whispered, be brave. She said, Daddy, I'm tired and I'm hungry, and the wind is so cold in the pines. But as long as I'm high on your shoulders, I'll be as brave as a lion. Come to me, child. Come to me, child. You know you have nothing to fear. Dry your eyes, child. Dry your eyes, child. Your daddy will always be here. Refugee, thank you.
Got nothing to fear.
So well done.
Lovely song, Tom. Thank you. Such a contrast from what Kate went before as well. Okay, we are rolling towards the end of the evening, so Kate Portal will be next, and after Kate there's room for only one more singer, and that singer is going to be Declan Coyne. So Declan, please ready yourself to close the evening. In the meantime, one from Kate.
Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Good. Okay, super. This you've heard me sing it many times before. It's a tune that Martin Carthy found by a Scottish fiddler from the 19th century called Blind Willie Rankin, and the words are from a whole lot of words of what were thought to be indecent verses, and it's the clue is in the title: "The Devil and the Farmer's Feathery Wife." Oh, there was no farmer lived under the hill, and a poor old fella, they say. He was plagued with hunger and a scolding wife, the worst of his fortune that day. And as he got wood in the forest one day, between ducked in despair, the devil himself popped out of a bush and stood before him there. Oh, what's the matter, the devil, he cried, you look so discontent. Haven't you got enough money to buy your food or to pay your landlord's rent? I've nothing to give you, the farmer, he cried. I've nothing right here to me hand. But if you do as you say for me, I'll be at your command. Oh, I'll make you a bargain, the devil, he cried, a bargain you just couldn't miss. You're to bring me a beast at 7 years' end, and I'm to say what it is. And if that beast I name alright, don't mark what I do tell. You'll have to toddle along with me to view the ovens of hell. Well, the old man prospered, trusted well, and it was all gained and spent. Then he's come to the end of 7 long years, and sorely he did lament. Oh, what's the matter, his wife, she cried, you look so discontent. Have you got some silly young girl with child making you sore lament? No, I made a bargain with the devil, he cried, a bargain I just couldn't miss. I'm to bring him a beast at 7 years' end, and he's to say what it is. And if that beast he names a right, mark what I do tell, I'll have to toddle along with him to view the ovens of hell. Oh, don't you worry, his wife, she cried, your cattle you keep and you feed. For the wit of a woman it comes in handy at times in an hour of need. Oh, fetch me the droppings of all our chickens and spread them out over the floor. And naked I will strip myself and roll in them over and o'er. And fetch me the basket of feathers, she said, and the geese we had for our tea. And I will roll all over in them till never an inch be free. Well, she's rolled in droppings, she's rolled in feathers from her head down to her navel. By Christ, he says, what an awful sight. You look far worse than the devil. And when the devil himself came in, he started to scream and hiss. By Christ, he said, what an awful sight, and I'm damned if I know what it is. He started to quake, he started to shake, saying, have you got more of these at home? Oh yes, said the farmer, I got 7 more that in my forest do roam. And if you've got 7 more of these beasts that in your forest do dwell, I'll stick to my bargain, I'm off home, 'cause she's worse than the demons of hell.
Well done.
Love you doing that. Okay. One more song this evening. It is 1 to 11. Declan, you'll probably go on a wee bit after 11, but yeah, please close the evening for us. I'm sorry for those who have not been able to get on this evening. It's been a particularly busy evening, particularly with Peggy coming along, and we wouldn't have missed her. Unfortunately, we have had to miss out a few people, but please come back. And in the meantime, over to Declan.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. My internet was giving trouble earlier on, so I hope it's okay. This one, Peggy will probably be familiar with. I think the New Lost City Ramblers did it way back, and a few others. It's an old-time version of a very old English ballad, The Soldier and the Lady. One morning in May, I spied a young couple. One morning in May, I spied a young couple wandering away. One was a lady as sweet as could be. The other was a soldier, and a brave lad was he. So to the lady, now where are you going? Down to the old wall, down to the orchard, and down to the stream. Down by the orchard, down by the stream, to see the water glide, hear the nightingales sing. They had only been gone for an hour or two, when out of his satchel a fiddle he drew. He played her a message, and the hills they did ring. Hark, hark, said the lady, hear the nightingale sing. Oh, soldier, dear soldier, will you marry me? Oh, no, said a soldier, that never can be. I've a wife in Columbus and children twice 3. One wife is a plenty and too much for me. Now all you young ladies take warning by me. Don't place your affections in a wild soldier so free. Don't place your affections in a soldier so free, or he will deceive you like mine has done me. I'm rid of it. Okay.
Well done, Declan. That is it for the evening. Thank you to Livy on the mute button. Thank you to everybody who sang. played, and we're here to listen. See you all, I hope, very soon. Please come back in future weeks.
Thanks for a wonderful evening, everybody.
Yeah, well done,
you,
Amanda.
Matt.
Thanks,
Amanda.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Really good.
Thanks, everyone. See you all.
Woody.
See you next week.
Fabulous.
Bye.
Great. Good night, everybody.
Bye all.